Well, the funny thing about what you guys are doing, it makes a lot of sense because at most gas stations, diesel is just the green handle.
It's the green handle. That's
And I
right.
say,
You know not to do that.
yeah,
Most of us, anyways.
yeah, I was
I
gonna say,
think there's
people can. I think that even the nozzle is a slightly different size, so you can't. I mean, I guess anymore put it in to the wrong car, but that's still an example of what was solved by the fossil fuel industries. That on the electric side of the industry, there's still a lot of questions, and there's a lot of finger pointing too as to whose job it is.
yeah.
It's the automakers; they should solve it. And my response is, the automakers will sell cars that run on anything. Compressed natural gas, electricity, gasoline, you name it, and hydrogen. I mean, they don't care. So whatever is easiest for their customers to buy into to say yes the fastest, that helps them sell a car. So
Yeah,
there you go.
and if anything, they've shown that they're not really, yeah, they don't really care about electric cars. Like they're being forced here in California to sell electric cars for the most part. Now that they're seeing that, oh, these are compelling products, so Tesla is outselling every single one of them in
Right.
their markets or whatever. Like, now they're like, okay, let's get into this sort of thing, right? But for years they didn't want to. I mean, it was pretty clear that they didn't care. Like, gas cars sell. Why should we try and sell some other cars that maybe
Well,
they'll sell, maybe not?
it's confusing, right? And also we were asking automakers to effectively, change their core competencies, right? I mean, they are mechanical engineer experts. I mean, like that engineering there, they know it. And if you ask them to build an electric car, I mean, sure, it looks like a car, but the guts of it underneath, it's all outside of the bounds of what they know from an
Yeah.
expertise. And
Yeah.
so I finally started explaining it a little bit to friends. They would say, so what's the big difference here, and why is Tesla doing so well compared to maybe these legacy auto companies? I'm like, well, Tesla answered the question that they haven't yet. If you think of an electric car kind of like a human body, you basically can say, well, what are the parts? Okay, number one is the heart. That's the battery. You know everything there's to know about that question for what makes a great battery. And if your battery is not sound, if it doesn't have high energy density, if it can't accept power and release power well, then yeah, it's going to be kind of a weak system. And so that's at the core. And then the next step is the software, which is kind of like the nervous system. If you don't have a good nervous system, you might have a body that's pumping with the heart, but it doesn't matter. So the car's got to have great software. And then the next step is the blood, which is the electricity. If you're not getting the electricity into the system that allows it to really function and move and take advantage of all those things, then it's not going to, again, it's going to be a dead body if there's no blood. So Tesla answered all those questions super well, but then you get to the skin and bones of it, of the body, and you go, well, that's manufacturing for the actual car itself. And that's where Tesla has areas where they need to improve.
Yeah, they had issues. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's where the automakers that have been building cars forever can say, hey, we kick ass at manufacturing the physical cars.
Yeah.
So that's
I never thought about it that way, but you're right. We're asking them to do a car that the main components are things that they're really weak at. Like the battery, they have a 12-volt battery, it's like a 100-year-old technology. And then software, most of them, their software sucks, right? Like even the infotainment, it's like so outdated. They never really invested so heavily into the software system. So, and that's what electric cars need. And yeah, of course, I guess it would make sense that they would struggle for a while and they would be hesitant to not make them.
Yeah. Well, and then that means if they make one, they probably, either if it was compliance or if they just kind of cobbled it together, they still don't know how to market that really. So they basically do it under a compliance umbrella and say, okay, we did this here. And then people ask, well, why are they not marketing these cars more? I'm like, they don't know how to explain this thing to even their dealers.
Yeah.
They don't. So they just go, hey, look, somebody's going to walk in here and know everything about this car.
Yeah.
Just sell it to them.
Sell it to 'em.
And
Just
so-
don't be a dummy and try to outsell the, sell the other, because there's so many of these accounts. I'm one of them where I went in there and they absolutely knew nothing about it, and I'm like, sell me the electric car, and they're like, which one? I had to tell them which one, and I'm like, why is it? It was not charged, so I got to do a test drive with it gas. I'm gassing because
Awesome.
it was discharged.
Floor it, man. Man, this is really great.
So, and they were always trying to upsell you, like,
Yeah.
oh, well, we could have the cruise over here. It's like there's so many of those accounts where
Oh,
where they're trying to sell you the thing that they know, but they're like, I don't know nothing about that one. I'm not trying to push it on you.
no, well, exactly it. And there's, as you said, there's so many examples of people who have done like a secret shopping to see how it goes, and it's always a train wreck. And what's funny is if you really think about what they're actually trying to explain, they know how to talk car. Like, oh, hey, this has Bluetooth, this has leather seats, this has chrome, whatever. That's their forte. But if you ask them to explain the thing that they don't understand, it always comes back to charging.
Yeah.
It always comes back to the thing that they don't sell. And what's bananas is electric utilities have been trying to fill gaps around the U.S. with that. And a lot of utilities have been trying to say, well, if they're not going to market the cars, we need to. And so you'll see a lot of utilities that go out of their way to really sell electric cars.
Really, they have an interest now in cars because they use their fuel essentially.
Well, right, but then you just said it, is people still don't fundamentally understand they have a fuel choice.
Yeah.
So the utility is trying to get them to buy cars, and I've got buddies who have said, I don't understand why my utility is showing me car stuff. Like, I don't get it. And the answer is, so a really cool Ford study that happened about a year ago before the Mach-E unveiling is they did a survey of non-EV owners, and when they asked the question of how do you fill up an electric car, 42% of people said, oh, with gas. And you go, almost half the people they talked to said, fill up an electric car with gas? You're kidding, right? And it goes to show that people simply don't realize that, yeah, they see car, they think gas. So we have to help them understand when they see car, they have a question, gas or electric, because they need to know about fuel choices.
Yeah. No, definitely. I mean, and like, I don't know. I don't know anyone that actually loves going to the gas station, right? That is the thing that's universally hated, right? Like,
I don't like it. I think what's funny is most people accept it because they grew up with it. It's just been ingrained in life, but they don't want to do it. You know, it's annoying.
It's always when you're late.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
always when I don't have 5 minutes to stop. Oh my God, there's 3 cars.
It's
like I used to love going to the gas station with my Chevy Volt because it literally has like a 3-gallon gas tank, and it was like you put the thing in there and you're like, oh, done. I'm like, let's get out of here. But it happened so rarely because I was always running on electric on that thing. But if the time that I had to, like we used to travel with it, that was a great thing about that car, that you could go like, let's go to where did we go? Vegas. Let's go to Vegas. And so you'd have to fill up. But I didn't mind because it was like, oh, I'm in and out. Like literally, like almost as soon as I'm putting the thing, it's full. And you're like, where every other car that we had before had a huge tank, and you just had to sit there. I mean, after like 60 seconds, 2 minutes, you're just like, okay, come on. Or you're forgetting about it. You're going and checking your messages, but then you get to see the signs that says you're not supposed to be on your phone.
Exactly. Touch your car to like kill the static connection or whatever it is.
Yeah, and then you're nervous. Yeah, there's a lot of bad things going to the gas station. I don't miss it at all. I've been not going to the gas stations for 7 years, so I'm good. No, but I think most people don't get that you could literally not ever have to go to the gas station. You just plug it in at home, and you should be fine. You know, if you get a car that has enough miles that gets you around. Mm-hmm. And how long does it take? 30 seconds. How long does it take you to plug the thing? Because essentially that's...
It's funny. That's one thing that I think can be a little bit misleading, is if you say, oh, it takes me 30 seconds to charge my car, and people go, whoa, that's crazy. And you say, wait, I plug it in, then I go inside and I do my thing, and I wake up in the morning and it's full.
It's gone, yeah.
And they go, well, wait a minute. Then it takes me 30 seconds to fill up my car with gas because I swipe my card and put the nozzle in, you know.
No, but you have to wait there for 5 minutes, and then...
Well, but the 5 minutes they wait, they have a full tank. And that's where they think of it in total. So that's... I found that out the hard way with trying to get some of my buddies on board when I used to say, no, it takes like 10 seconds. Just plug it in when I pull in my garage. Yeah. And I had one of my friends go, yeah, dude, but what's the total time?
Yeah, but you only care about that if you need to leave in the middle of the night to go do something else. If you're not leaving till the next morning, you really don't care. Do you care if it takes, like if your phone is charged in 10 minutes or in 2 hours? Like, it doesn't matter. If you're going to sleep, right? You just plug it in. It's done.
Well, that's a consumer psychology switch, right? Is getting people to go, oh, I'm totally cool doing that. And so that's where the smartphone analogy comes in a lot. Where, hey, you put your smartphone on the nightstand, you plug it in, when you wake up, it's always ready, right? And
Yeah.
it's the same kind of a concept, but then people still get confused about, well, it's not a smartphone though, it's a car. And they just always get back to the gas experience.
Yeah.
And so,
No, I mean, there's a
balancing
legit,
act. Yeah.
there's a legitimate concern if you have to charge it during the day.
Oh, totally.
Because then it's like, it's not 30 seconds, it's 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever it is.
Well, if you're at a level 2, yeah. But then that's like for Chargeway, we would say, yeah, but you're driving a car that's a level 5 car. Go find a level 5 station and you can go grab lunch and be done.
Yeah.
And that's when they can go, oh, then they start to equate something like that. Because you just described it really well, is how do they know where it fits in their use case of their life?
Yeah.
And then what option will fit with that use case? So at home, yeah, that's a level 2. If you're on the highway, well, if you're in the middle of nowhere and you're on a 5-hour road trip, yeah, you want to be in and out probably in, if you're stopping for lunch, maybe 30 minutes or less. That's like a level 6 or higher. And so then they can start to understand those icons of like, well, got to find a 6 if I want that experience. But if I'm going to a movie, that's like 2.5 hours. I could probably find like a level 3 or 4, and that's cool.